All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Google Meet in Google Classroom. So if you remember right, it was the link is in the stream right here or in classwork right here. So if we just click this icon, it'll take us to Google Meet. Now, I did this on purpose, and you're going to notice a couple things. First, it came up and said, do you want to allow the use of the microphone and the camera? If your student's never been to Google Meet before, this should come up. If they have problems with this, I will show you how to fix it where the camera and the microphone is not working. This is one place to check. I'm going to click allow right now. This is a message that you will get if the student tries to get into a Google Meet where there's not a teacher. The reason being is at our school, we don't allow students to start Google Meets on their own. And because of that, this message pops up. So that means the teacher is not there. So if I go back to my teaching class, so here's my teaching class, and I click Google Meeting. Now here I am as the teacher in clouds. So remember the clouds. I click join as the teacher. And so now I'm going to be in there. I'm going to turn that off. And I'll go back. I'll close this. And I'll go back to the stream just to show you can do both ways. And so now it pops up and everything is working right. And the reason being is because now the teacher's in the meet. And so you can be in this part. So going from left to right, remember that pop-up that was up here? If we click this lock button, we can see that we have allowed camera and microphone. So if there's a problem with the camera and microphone, you can always click this lock button and make sure these are marked allow. If they're not, you click on the down arrow and you pick your choice. Okay. Next, if we go around, this little bouncy thing means a microphone is picking up my voice. And then we can check our audio and video settings here. So I'm using venue, so it's taking my venue as my microphone, and I'm wearing headphones, so that's using my headphones because I've already set this up. And if I wanted to, I could play a little test sound, and it's looking for my front camera, which isn't working, so I'm going to change it to my HD camera, which is right here. Hi. And then if I wanted to, I could click next, and I could go through and record, and it'll do that here, and it would say start, and you could do everything to check your sound, check everything you needed to check before you went into the meet. We're not going to do that because it'll waste a little bit of time. And it will also go, when you go through it, it'll give you green check marks for your mic, your video, and your sound. So you get checked off. So if you have time before the meet, you can always check. When you're done, you click X. And then, so this is the microphone. I'm going to mute mine. So that tells you it turns it off. This is my camera. So it turns it off and on. This is backgrounds. So if your student is uncomfortable with what's in the background, or they just want to have some fun, you can go through different backgrounds. Like we can blur the background if you want to see what that looks like, or blur it more, or we can pick one of these backgrounds here. Okay. And so for example, I like the beach, so I'll go to actually, sorry, I like the space one. So I'll go to space. So then when you're done, just click the button again and it goes away. Then up here is a lot of settings that we have already been able to change all over the place. If we want to switch cameras, we can click here. If we want to change the background, we can click here just like that. If we want to turn on closed captioning, we can do that. And so that the meeting will be closed captioned live. It's fairly good. It's not 100% obviously, but it's fairly good as long as people talk loudly and there's not a lot of background noise. There's report problems. There's report abuse if there's a problem there. There's troubleshooting help, and then you can also click settings and you can see the audio and video settings there. When you come over here, this is the name of the meet. So if somebody gives you a name, you know that's what it is. You can click join. A student would always click join now. They should never click present. And then if your internet is bad or you don't want to have any, if you just aren't in the right place to get good internet where the video and everything wouldn't work, you can always do this and put in your phone number and the Google Meet will call you and you can get on, or you can dial in and get into the meet. Okay, so let's join this meet. So here we are on the meet. Now you know that the clouds was the teacher. So what you're seeing is the teacher view we're looking at the student view, so the student is seeing the teacher. Okay, and we will work our way around again. So down here is the joining information. This is the muted microphone, which we can turn on. This is the hang up button. When you're done, you can hang up. This is the turn off the video. If I want to turn off the video, notice how nothing happened because this is the teacher output, not the student output. But if you look in the upper right up here, when I turn it off, it goes away. So that's my view up there. If I want to, I can raise my hand and that shows up on the teacher side. I can turn captioning on and off. If the teacher asks me to present my screen, I can click on this and choose present my entire screen, present a window, or present a tab. So if I present my entire screen, no matter where I go, the teacher gets to see what I'm doing. It's usually the easiest, but depending on what you're doing, if you're doing a complicated presentation and you don't want people to see stuff in the background, then you can present a window. Or if you need to share audio of like a video clip or something, you can present a tab. Okay, but usually the best is your entire screen. Then if you click the three dots, that's always the settings again, and you can see you can open a whiteboard. You can change the layout. There's full screen. You can switch cameras, change your background, all the same things you could do before. This whiteboard one is a fairly interesting piece that's called Jamboard. We don't really have to worry about that. If you want to see who's on the meet, so that's all the bottom controls. If you want to see who's on the meet, you can click this person and it shows who's in the meet, which is me and this test user. If you wanted to chat, you click over here and this chat will be here. You click at the bottom and you start typing and hit enter and it goes into the chat like this. Okay, it will make a noise that says you've got a chat. And it notices that you've got your microphone muted, but your camera is showing your mouth moving, so it's going to ask you, are you talking? That's that part. And then there's this part here where there is breakout rooms, which a teacher has to set up, polls, which a teacher has to set up. And if it happens, they would come up where you would be able to put in answers or mark yes or no for polls and Q&A, depending on the use case of what's going on. So that's that top white bar, that's the triangle, so that's those three. There's the time. And then the last thing is if you ever go over somebody's picture, you will see that there's a pin. If there's more than one person in the meet, you'll see a pin and this little grid, and it says show you in the tile. So if I click this, now I have myself included in the grid view so I can see what's being seen by others. If I don't want that, I can click that again and it goes away. Okay, if I only want to look at myself, I can go right here and click the pin, and so now I'm only seeing myself. But since there's only one person in the meeting right now, it would look like this. If a teacher presents multiple things, so let's say, I'll just simulate it here. See how I have the choice to pin whichever one now? So if a teacher's presenting and there's multiple things and the presentation is too small, what the student can do is click the pin and that will bring that to the full screen. The other thing they can do is, we skipped it really fast here, but there's also a full screen here. Okay? And that full screen will allow it to go big. And sometimes it doesn't, it's a little glitchy sometimes. We'll try here and see how it goes bigger. So then to get out of it, you move your cursor to the top and there's an X. The last thing is we can go to change layout. And so this is where you can see it's doing auto, but we could make it be tiled. Spotlight means when you talk, the person talking will show up on the screen, and you can make it sidebar where we have everybody down the side and then the person talking shows up, and we can change the size of the grid as well. Okay, the other ones are pretty self-explanatory in here. All right, that is Google Meet very quickly, and how to use it and how to get in and possible problems you might face. All right, see you later.